Good day everyone, I am Nazal C. Parani from BIT4A FSM. So now I will discuss to you about the Philippine National Building Code, which is the Learning Outcome 6. So first, what is the Philippine National Building Code? It is the RA 6541 as an act to ordain the institution of National Building Code of the Philippines. It does not conform with the development goals and infrastructure program of the government, and it does not adequately provide for all the technological requirements of building structures in terms of up-to-date design and construction standards and the criteria. So, pag sinabi natin Philippine National Building Code, ito talaga ay isang RA 6541 Act. So, hindi siya basta-basta itatayo lang building at hindi pwedeng gagawa ka lang ng design. Ang Philippine National Building ay meron siyang tinatawag na standards and criteria. Ito yung magde-decide yung isang designer kung ano dapat ang magiging design ng isang building. Next. So, the general building requirements. So, ayan nga, meron siyang requirements ang isang building. Hindi ka pwedeng design lang ng design. So, ano nga ba siya? All buildings or structures as well as accessory facilities thereto shall conform in all respect to the principles of safe construction of the most suited to the purpose which they are designed. So, panabi dito na ang isang building ay meron isang design or accessories. At dapat ay yung design niya ay ka-respeto-respeto nga. Hindi pwedeng ganito, ay ito, ganitong kulay dapat, ay ganito ganyan. Hindi siya pwede. So, kailangan is may criteria siyang tinatawag. Next is building as structures intended to the use for the manufacture or production of any kinds of article or products or observe adequate environmental safeguards. Number 3 is building or structure are all parts therefore as well as all facilities found therein shall be maintained in safe, sanitary, and good working condition. So, dito din, ang building dapat ay meron siyang maintain safe at saka may sanitary at good working condition. Kasi dito mo malalaman kung gaano katatag ang isang building. Hindi kasi pwedeng yung building ng national is hanggang 1 taon lang. So, kung pwedeng panghabang buhay, is panghabang buhay na siya. Next is site requirements. Sa site requirements, dito pag-uusapan yung land na pagtatayuan ng isang building. The land or site upon which constructed the buildings or structures or any ancillary or auxiliary facilities thereto shall be sanitary, hygienic or safe. So, dapat yung land or yung site niya is safe and naka-sanitary siya. Sites or buildings intended for human habitation or abode, and the same shall be at a safe distance, as determined by competent authorities from streamers, body of water, or source of the air consideration to the polluted from volcano or volcanic site or any other building constructed to be potential source of fire or explosion. So, dapat yung magiging land mo or pagtatayuan mo ng isang building dapat is malayo siya sa disgrasya. Halimbawa, hindi siya ng isang lumindol. So, hindi dapat siya yung pag lumindol is magbibiyak yung lupa. So, dapat is safe talaga siya at maayos. Next is types of construction. So, may type nga ang construction. Type 1 shall be made from pure wood and construction. Kasi, pag sinabi natin pure wood, kasi, matibay. So, matibay talaga siya. Next, shall be wood construction with protective fire resistant materials and 1 hour fire resistive throughout except The permanent, non-bearing partition may use fire-run and treated wood. Next, shell of masonry, wood construction. Constructional elements may be any of the materials permitted. Exterior walls will be incombustible, fire-resistive construction. Next shall be steel, iron, concentrate, or any masonry construction walls, ceiling, or permanent partition shall be incombustible or fire-resistive construction. The next shall be a 4-hour fire-resistive throughout all structure. Elements shall be steel, iron, concentrate, or masonry construction. So, dito, papasok, dapat yung gagamitin mo is matibay. Hindi pwedeng gamit ka lang ng isang bagay or gagamitin ng isang building na hindi siya matibay. So, dito papasok yung mga masonry, yung iron, yung concentrate. Yan po. Next, fire-resistive requirements in construction. Material used to construction building have different fire-resistive ratings. This is the degree which material can withstand and fire as determined by generally recognized and accepted testing methods. So, dito papasok yung tinatawag na different fire-resistive ratings. So, dito mo ma-determine o makikita o ma-recognize kung gaano ba talaga ka-accept yung isang bagay na gagamitin mo. So, it means meron siyang tinatawag na accepted testing. So, ito-testing mo muna yung isang gagamitin mo kung matibay talaga siya. Next, it is also important to understand the fire-resistive time period rating. This is to prevent another loss to the business since it measures and the length of time material can withstand being burned by 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, or etc. Next is fire system standards. So, mayroon fire system standards. Una is floor construction, solid free stress, partition, protection for metal structure members, exterior wall, and column. So, sa pangalawang slide, dito natin maiintindihan. So, ayan po yung ibig sabihin. Next is maximum building height. So, hindi ka pwedeng gagawa ka lang ng building na, okay, sobrang taas. So, dapat may maximum na taas din siya. So, una is end user population density. Light and ventilation with our RRO, street particularly of the roadway cargaway component, building bulk of street off-site parking requirements, and the maximum height and number of stories of proposed building in relation to. Una is local land use, plant, and zoning regulation, environmental consideration, geological, hydrological, meteorological, and typological. Next is prevailing traffic condition. Next is availability and capacity of public utility service system. So, dito, sa apat na to, dito mo ma-identify kung gaano dapat kataas yung building na ipapatayo mo. Kung alam mo naman na hindi siya pwedeng taasan, so hindi, saktong building lang. Kaya nakalagay doon is maximum. Yan. For example, the building height limit. Yan siya. Next is, ayan, 4 sloping grade perpendicular to RRO W with the difference in elevation of more than 300 mm and the average grade level established grade elevation. For example. And the next is the towers with spires, stiles, not prohibition or storage limited as to the height only by structure design of completely incombustible materials. Next, for example, ito pa, isang example is the towers, spires, not prohibition are extended but no exceeds 6 mm above the prescribed building height limit of the mid of composite materials. Our next is the parking slot, parking area, and the loading and unloading space requirements. So, syempre, pag gagawa ka talaga ng building, mayroon ka dapat parking slot or parking. The size of an average automobile car parking slot must be computed at the point 50 meters by 5 meters for perpendicular parking or diagonal parking. For conditional reference, please check Philippine National Building to 2005 Rule V Section 7074B. So, syempre, pag gagawa nga ng Philippine National Building, hindi pwedeng walang parking. Kasi, karamihan sa nag-work doon is may mga private car. Hindi naman sila katulad sa atin, or example sa atin na nagko-commute lang. Meron silang private car, hindi pwede yung car nila is makakasagabal sa daan. So, dapat kapag tatayo ng building, Philippine building is kailangan kasama na doon is yung parking. At dapat yung parking hindi siya gaano kalawak. Dapat naka-maximum din siya. The size of average automobile car parking slot must be computed as 2.50 meters by 5 meters for perpendicular parking or diagonal parking. BS 2.50 meters by 6 meters for parallel parking or diagonal parking. So, dito nga i-explain nga dito kung gaano lang dapat kalawak ang isang parking. Halimbawa, kung ang car mo is naka-average siya ng 2.50 meters, so dapat ang perpendicular parking ay 5 meters. So, hindi ko pwedeng masyadong malaki. Hindi pwedeng sasakupin mo lahat. Next is standard truck faces parking loading slot must be computed at a minimum 3.6 meters by 12 meters. So yun naman ang standard ng truck. An articulated truck slot must be computed at a minimum 3.6 meters by 18 meters, which should sufficient to accommodate 12 meters container, van, bulk, or carrier out the long height. So hindi nga siya consistent pagdating sa meters, no? Pag sinabi naman natin jeepney or shuttle parking, loading and unloading must be computed at maximum 3 meters to 9 meters. So, may kanya-kanyang sukat bawat sasakyan. F is a parking space ratings listed at NBCP Table B. Marking a space rating listed of the NBCP Table P114 are minimum of street of RROW come on site requirements for specific uses, companies and building structures, all of the located outside of the road right one way. Parking slot, parking area, and the loading unloading space requirements. So may requirements din siya. Hindi pwedeng gagawa ka lang ng parking. So, ayan nga. Ang paggagawa ng parking is dapat sukat siya sa bawat car. Kung car lang naman, may sukat ang bawat isa. At may standard yan. Next. Ayan din siya. So, minimum required of street of RROW come on-site parking slot, parking and area. Loading and unloading space requirements by allowed use occupancy. So, meron siyang sukat for every 1,000 square meters of the gross floor area. Provide 1 car slot. So, ayan, in-explain dito na kapag 1,000 square meters, 1 car slot ang nandoon. Or 1 bus naman if 100 lang. If workers exceeded 200, 1 of RRO or off-street passenger loading space and accommodate 2 or required jeepney shuttle naman siya. So, tandaan, pag car is, means, pag car, 1,000. Pag, provide siya ng 1 slot doon. Tapos, kapag, bus naman, 100 yun. So, 100 workers naman siya. Next is, traffic generating buildings. The distance between the street curb of the egress of the commercial slot property nearest intersection and the street curb of the intersection will be less than 50 meters. Yun naman yung traffic. So, ito yung for example yan. Next is light and ventilation. Pag may tinatawag tayong light and ventilation, No building shall be altered or nor arranged so as reduce the size of any room for relative area of windows to less than that provide for buildings under this rule or to create additional room, unless the additional room is conforms to the requirements of the rule. So, ayun, pag sinabi natin light and ventilation, may room din, pasok din pa rin siya sa rules. No building shall be enlarged so that the dimension of the required courtyard will be less than the prescribed as a building lot. Next is size and then dimensions. So, may size and dimension nga din siya. Dito, papasok yung minimum size of courts and yards and their less dimension shall be governed by the use, type of construction, and the weight of the building. As provided here under the provided that the minimum horizontal dimension of the said courts yard shall be not less than 2 meters. Ayan, for example niya. So, dito makikita natin yung commercial building. Sabi, ito is in illustrate a seat back at is located in the front of the back at the commercial building to the sample of seat back. It can also use the household building for alternative location. It can be used as a back parking for the commercial building. So, ayan for example niya. Next is B, a setback. So, parehas lang din siya. The sample setback, it can be also used household building din siya. Next is, ayan. Ito yung next example. Parehas lang din siya. So, pinaka-example dito, yung sa mall. Sa mall Cubao. Ayan, for example. So, maganda siya tingnan. Kasi may design na siya. Open area rin siya. Next is, ayan, ito dito pinapakita yung kung gaano dapat, gaano lang ba kalaki or gaano lang ba kalawak yung makukuha or makukuhang space. Diba? Kung gaano lang siya kalaki kasi hindi pwedeng sobrang laki. Next is, ayan, for example, size of dimension courts. Ito yung example ng dimension courts. Every court shall have width of not less than 2 meters or 1 or 2 store buildings. However, that court is treated as yard or vice versa. This means reduced is to less than 1.50 meters and the cluster units. Yan lang siya. Next, ito naman, ceiling heights. So, kung gaano lang kataas yung ceiling niya. So, dito, makikita mo is the habitat rooms provided with artificial ventilation shall have ceiling heights not less than 2.40 meters from the ceiling. Ceiling height is more than 1 story. First story minimum 2.70 meters and second story naman siya is minimum ng 2.40 meters. Accessing stories naman is unobstructed headroom, cleaners of not less than 2.10 meters. Next. Yan, may size ng dimension of room siya. Minimum size niya is pag human habitation it 6 square meters at less than 2.0 meters. Sa kitchen naman 3 square meters plus less than dimension ng 0.5 meters. But pag sinabi natin bath and the toilet, sa toilet naman siya, ito sa 0.2 square meters with a less than dimension of 900 millimeters. Airspace requirements in determining the size of the room. So, syempre, kailangan natin to kasi pag walang air or hangin na papasok, sobrang, ayun tinatawag nilang kulob. So, parang hirapan kang huminga. The minimum airspace shall be provided as follow. School rooms is 3.0 cm, 1.00 square meters of the floor area per person. Workshop naman, pag factories or office, 2.0 meters or air space per person. Pag sinabi naman natin habitable rooms, ay 14.00 meters of airspace per person. So, dito, malalaman din natin yung window openings. So, di ba? Akala natin is, ay okay, gawa natin ng window, okay na to. So, hindi pwede. So, may sukat din talaga siya pagkagawa ng window. Room intended for use, not provided with artificial ventilation system. Shall be provided with a window or windows with a total free area of the openings equal to less 10% of the floor area of the room, provided that its opening shall be less than 1.0 square meters. And may require siya sa pag-open. So, first, about sa courtyard, public street or alley or open water course or other public open space. Has ceiling height is not less than 2.0 meters. As one of the slide is 65% open the unsculpted. And that's all. Thank you so much for listening.